December 23rd. The yard has been trashed. Yesterday was a crazy storm. And I spent a bunch of time in the greenhouse sowing some seeds. And then now I have a bunch more that just came in. So yeah, I don't know, why don't I just do a little quick walkthrough on my way down there. This is a seed-grown Schefflera called Taiwaniana, and I grew that from seed sown I think in like 2018. I find that there's a little bit of variance in these when you do grow them from seed. Some of the leaves will be like narrower or thicker or different color veining. Anyway, this one's turned out to be really cool. It's probably 6 feet tall now. And then next to it is that Schefflera de la Veille with all its flower heads that have, well, you can see the spikes, but all the flowers themselves have just fallen off. They never really seed for me here. Just a little too slow, you know. That's a cool plant here. This is Mahonia soft caress. And it's kind of flopping over, but it should be like kind of higher up. And then there's other perennials. These epimediums are great. The flowers are awesome in the spring, and they kind of self-seed all the way around the plant, so you get tons and tons of different hybrids. This is a rhododendron with awesome foliage. This is gosh, I'm gonna have to look on the tag. Facetum Af Infinity. So yeah, it's not supposed to be super hardy, but it's been doing good here. It's Fatsia, the camouflage. Little Daphne in the back, a yellow Daphne. More of a woodland style Daphne, I guess. Loves some shade. Stachyurus salicifolius. Just planted this year. Hoping that it does really good. We'll move our way to the pond side of the garden. This is Rhododendron liliiflorum, which is a Medenii hybrid. And then below here we have a really cool fern. And it is it's like one of those rabbit's foot ferns. So it has a really cool growth pattern. And that it like spreads almost like above ground rhizomes. All the cyclamen are coming into flower. Our low this year here has been just about -1, so that's why you see some of the protections up for the tree ferns like we went to in some of the other videos. And some things haven't even gotten knocked back yet, so more epimediums. Some of your more common runs with the rounder leaf. This is Fatsia polycarpa Needham's lace, and it is starting to produce some flower spikes. Another Schefflera de la Veille. Of course, I could go into depth over all the minute plantings here, but I'd rather not. But yeah, like here, there's 3 different rhodos. That's a small little one. I think it's an Edgeworthii family, or it looks like an Edgeworthii. Pendulum. I just sowed this year, planted it this year. This is called, I forget. It is another rhodo. I believe it starts with a B. And then this is a Forestii, Rhododendron Forestii. This whole crevice garden I built from some of the local rocks up by our lake. So it's got all the moss on it and stuff. And oh, I think that rhodo is called Bahuense or Bahuense or something. There's an evergreen vine in the back, which is a yellow flower, I believe. Maybe it's a white flower. Anyway, it's a jasmine, evergreen jasmine, variegated. And then a small little camellia. I think it's a Sasanqua. And this form flowers in like November, and it's a very weeping habit. So peer through the pond area. Another Schefflera, this Taiwaniana. The hummingbirds are fighting. There's one right now. This bed has a couple interesting trees, probably too big for the space, but this is a Prunus alicifolia. It's got small little foliage that is serrated and some awesome veining that is below. It gets like a cherry berry, I guess, as it's a Prunus. And it's totally hardy here. Been had this in the ground for, I guess, about 4 or 5 years since we've been here. This is Quercus dorata, which is a leather leaf oak. It's got great thick foliage, indumentum on the bottom, little tomentum on top actually as well. And this again has been totally hardy here through -10 centigrade. That's a rhododendron faithii. Fairly large leaves, as you can see on some of those, and then it flowers in almost like August. So it's kind of a spot that is just too hot for it to flower in August. So behind that is a giant maple, actually, that Acer macrophyllum santium snows, I believe is the name of that. This is a redneck rhododendron, Daphne-phyllum macropodium, and this is the form which is called glaucosens. Glaucosens has a brighter, bluier undersides to the leaves, and as you can see there, it definitely represents its name. Red petioles and beautiful veining throughout with this glaucous backside to the leaves. Just fantastic. This is grown from seed from our old house. We had one tree of it, and then I pollinated it before we moved. Got a few seeds, and then I ended up getting like one plant. So trunk's getting pretty big now. More palms throughout the yard. Just the Trachycarpus fortunii, callistemons, Eucalyptus stellulata. Excuse me. That is a Cedrus libenii, I believe. Lebanon cedar. I just love the shape of this. It looks like bonsai-like. And believe it or not, this is another Libanii, which is I would think it would be like a sport or a witch's broom from the normal tree. This is such a great Manzanita Arctostaphylos. I believe this is Silvicola ghostly. Problem is I grew a bunch from cuttings, and I had really bad time of keeping the names. So that is either our native one, which is oh gosh, I forget the name now, but they're blue and they're up in our foothills. Actually, like if you were to look out over our mountains, which you can see over there, those manzanitas or Arctostaphylos, they grow up basically like, if I can try to point with my finger, basically up in those foothills right in there. Okay, it's coming back to me now. It's Arctostaphylos columbiana. The brain gets a little confused sometimes with so many names and plants in this yard, but yeah, this is I'm not sure, entirely sure if this is columbiana or if that's the Silvicola ghostly. So either way, it's really fast growing, really drought tolerant, and can handle that full sun. So yeah, here's our little wetland of the pond. I took out that log there. It was kind of, the white hose was underneath and it was poked up through the log and it was providing like a little water fountain, but found that our water's been kind of browning with like tannins. So I wasn't sure if it was from the wood waste. Either way, I took it out and I'm gonna put that hose is gonna go up in like a drilled rock. So the hose will come out, I'll hide it all with rocks, and then the water will just like bubble out of like a bubbler rock, and then the birds will love it. So trying to keep all the wood out of the water. So this is great. Agave perii. They are planted in the cracks all throughout here. Yeah. Getting pretty big now. Here's another prunus, actually. This is Prunus prostrata, and that is not an evergreen prunus like the one that you saw up there, but this is a really small growing one, I believe from Europe or something. So this is a palm called Comox BC var cerifera. It's not very blue right now, but some of the foliage that is more kind of the undersides and newer, you'll see has a bluier hue to it. Here, why don't we go over here? I don't know if I've showed you this side of the yard yet. This is Hackia, an Australian native. That's called microcarpa. In behind it, there's an oak. I can't remember the name. It's got really small leaves. What I've done here is just planted way too many things, thinking that a lot of them wouldn't work, and most of them have. So can have a little look at this little oak here, Quercus glauca, and then in behind is a leptospermum. Oh, hummingbird right here. Yeah, these leptospermums are great. You can see the little flower buds on them. Look at that Chief Joseph. That's great. That is a Pinus contorta, Chief Joseph. One here, and then there's another one up there. totally draws your eye to them in this winter when everything's so bland. If anybody wants to know how to plant agaves in the winter wet, it's like this. You take off all the soil and you plant them sideways. You plant them under overhangs, like this one here. And you plant them in little cracks, you know, under here. This ice plant here is just taken over, but most of these do fairly well. These are different types of chrysanthemum or I forget the name of them, but Montanas, I believe those are Montanas. And then there's some Caibiensis, I believe is another name. And then some Perryeyes, I don't know. There's a bunch of different ones all over. So, and all this is like just pure rock here. That's just what everything's planted in, so. Here's a look at the pond from this side. Yucca. Look at that sucker. Grew that from seed as well. Right next to this Grevillea perindeliane. Couple Trachycarpus fortunais. This is a hardy ginger, and as you can see, like a couple days before Christmas here, and it's it's not even knocked back yet. So, oh, and there's a little bit of seed in it. I'll have to take that seed and harvest it. Here's our jump rock. When everybody's feeling brave, they jump into the 6-foot spot here, swim over to the deck over there, other types of different Arctostaphylos throughout here. I believe one of those is Ken Taylor, and I think another one's Densiflorum. Excuse the fingers in there. There's some MacArthuri eucalyptus. I could go and show you those from the other side. This is Picea breweriana, which is an Oregon native, I believe. Brewer's Picea. It's got like a weeping form, kind of rare. Not rare, but you just don't see them, so that's why I wanted to plant it. And right next to your common cedar, which is Lelandii, but this is like a glaucous form, I guess, like a bluer form. So yeah, this is an interesting tree. These are smaller growing eucalypts. So these have been here now for probably 4 years, 3 years. And they got like a really nice long leaf, and they don't get super fast, super quick, which these three here should provide a nice little windbreak. And then I think they'll also support each other really nicely. That is a California live oak, which is Quercus. I forget now. You'll have to look that up. And then we have a Quercus agrifolia. Ah, got it. And then this uke is a hybrid Gunnii praecox, and it's been there for about as long as these MacArthuri's. And it has just gotten huge. So in fact, I have I have to tie it, support it a bit right there. I do it loosely so that it does move around and it can develop its roots. And I've actually had to trim off a bunch of it because I've lost them in the past. They just get too big, some of them, right? But like these MacArthur's are doing completely fine in the same amount of soil, same amount of water. So some grow really fast and some don't. And I'm trying to grow the ones that are growing a little slower lately. If you got space, those big ones are great. So these are, that's a really interesting plant here. This is this Wachendorfia thyrsifolia. It's from South Africa. It gets like a yellow, tall flower and in the summer. And they're not supposed to be hardy. But they grow in like wetland bogs, I guess, in South Africa. There's one there and then one there. The roots are like red, bright red. So that's a really neat feature of them. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, tuning in. We try to make more content for you. It's hard when the weather sucks to get out and about, but appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to watch more of our channel. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.